All right, in this morning's NewsNation checkup, a personalized mRNA vaccine that trains the body to fight pancreatic cancer showed some promise in a small trial. Researchers in New York extracted patients' tumors, and then they used the genetic makeup to make a personalized vaccine. They found that half of the 16 patients in this study responded to the vaccine. None of those 8 have seen their cancer return. For more on this, I'm joined now by Dr. Corey Hebert. Doctor, good to see you this morning. He works at the LSU School of Medicine. This sounds like really positive news. What's your read and messaging on this?
Well, this is very positive news because we all know that pancreatic cancer is very aggressive. We usually find it when it's in stage 4. It causes a lot of problems with a lot of folks. And the problem that we have really found is that we find it so late. But with this new vaccine that has some promise, now we have to be careful about this. We don't want to give people false hope because the other people that did do well, that remained cancer-free after about 18 months, they also were receiving other forms of chemotherapy, right? But what we do want to say is that, out of the COVID vaccine, no matter if you liked the COVID vaccine or hated it, the reality is that we've gotten a lot of technology out of this. And this is an mRNA vaccine targeted at very specific pancreatic cells for very specific people. So to be able to tailor something like this for this horrible disease, this is a huge win for Sloan Kettering's group.
It feels like through the pandemic, the mRNA vaccine is much talked about, but I hadn't heard much about it prior to that. I mean, is this a new way to fight some of these viruses? How long has this type of vaccine been in development?
Well, that's the thing. If you're a postman, then you know about mail. Right. So doctors know about mRNA. And so that's the thing. People say, well, we never heard of this before. Well, there's books, thousands of volumes about stuff that people never heard before unless they were researchers. So that's why I want to reassure you and reassure the public that we've been working on mRNA vaccines for the last 20 to 30 years. This technology is not new. And that's why we were able to pull it off the shelf so quickly and move it forward with COVID-19 vaccination. I mean, that's the reality. So I'm really glad you brought that up because the reality is that we've been having this for a very long time.
All right, so I got to go read a plethora of mRNA vaccine research.
No, not you. That's what I'm for. No, that's what I'm
for. Right. That's my homework. No, I totally get you. Okay, so there's some other health news that I want to get your thoughts on. The experimental skin patch shows some promise in treating toddlers who are highly allergic to peanuts. There's so many kids dealing with this in families. This is a late-stage trial in France, and it showed 67% of children wearing this patch around 22 hours a day for a year could tolerate the equivalent of up to 4 peanuts. It doesn't sound like much. However, 400 children in the trial couldn't even tolerate a small part of a single peanut. For many of these kids, a nut allergy is a death threat, right? They live with this and their families do every day. This could be a game changer.
Right. And some might say the juice ain't worth the squeeze on this because, yeah, you might be able to eat 4 peanuts. But the reality is that it's not really about a child to be able to eat 4 peanuts in the grand scheme of things. What it's really about is the fact that these children sometimes die from peanut allergy, and they can have a life that is very difficult because the peanut is in everything. And we got to remember, peanut is a legume. It's not really a tree nut. So it's a very specific allergy. The issue is that it's just about 2% of people that have it, of children. And then of those children that have it, only a very small amount get a very severe reaction. We bring in something called the hygiene hypothesis, which means the more you expose your child to, the better his immune system will be. And so in America, what we've tended to do is try to shelter our children from all this, from all these illnesses. But the reality is what we're making is a weakened immune system for the child. We know that if a child has a pet in the house that's dragging in a bunch of dirt, that child is a healthier child. So with that being said, this patch is something that goes through the skin. It actually has a peanut protein on it. So it really kind of gets down to that age group 1 to 3 years of age that we weren't able to give this shot to so that we could desensitize patients. So in that way, it's going to allow those patients to be able to not be killed by being accidentally exposed to peanuts. And that's where I think this is really going to hit home.
Right, and give parents peace of mind when you send your kid off to school and they're at the lunch table with peanuts around. Will this real quickly?
With my child.
Yeah, right, if it's your child. Does the peanut patch, does it cover other nut allergies or it's specific to peanuts?
This is really specific for peanuts. I mean, they have so much cross-contamination in all these factories that do other types of nuts, right? So we don't want to think that it's just for peanuts, but we're really targeting the peanut allergy because the peanut is a very specific nut, not just all like the rest of the tree nuts.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.